Hi, guys, and welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today's episode is recorded in the beautiful LovedTwice Bridal store located in Beverly Hills. I'm so excited for you guys to meet Sarah, the owner and founder of LovedTwice Bridal. In this episode, we are diving into entrepreneurship, how to balance being a mother, a wife, her journey of becoming the owner, the creator of LovedTwice Bridal. And of course, when I say creator, I mean founder. But she really did come up with this concept of having a luxury consignment bridal shop. Honestly, very crazy, very innovative. Of course, Sarah did have 13 years experience in the bridal industry. She's previously worked for Anthropology Weddings, formerly known as BHLDN and Pronovius. And she, of course, is a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, and honestly, just a boss. We're diving into some tea in the wedding industry. We talk about how you can get a secondhand, I put in air quotes, some of these dresses at LovedTwice Bridal haven't even been worn, and they've ended up in the very amazing, trusted hands of LovedTwice Bridal. So if you are deep in your bridal era, you're looking for a dress, you cannot miss this episode. And if you're looking to shake up this space and, think a little outside of the box, Sarah has some great insight. So let's dive in, guys. Welcome to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. I'm your host, Marley Freigang, and I'm here to help you filter out all the bullshit and become the next It Girl. This podcast explores the reality of what it really takes to make it out there. As it turns out, it is way less Instagrammable than I thought it was going to be. I'm still very much a work in progress, but there's simply nothing else I'd rather be doing than chasing my dreams. So let's learn from my mistakes and work together to achieve our dreams with more confidence, clarity, and direction. Let's get after it. All right, guys, welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. I am joined by the lovely Sarah from LovedTwice Bridal. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to talk to you about all things bridal industry, entrepreneurship, how we got there. You're also do you say you're the owner, the creator of the concept?
I say owner and founder.
Founder,
yes.
got it. Owner
Someone's
and founder.
asked me if I was CEO, and I was like, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Don't technically have a C-suite, but call me whatever you want.
We'll take it. But for those who don't know, how do you explain what LovedTwice Bridal is? It's not your traditional, normal, per se, bridal shop.
No. So a little easy elevator pitch. LovedTwice Bridal is a luxury consignment store that bridges the gaps between sellers and buyers looking to resell or buy a secondhand wedding dress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So yet something that sounds like so essential to a very expensive industry, yet there wasn't really like a space for this pre.
No.
So let's get into that. What inspired you to focus on the luxury bridal consignment? Kind of a mouthful, and also I don't know, it's just not like, obviously I'm deep in my bridal era, so like I think about this thing, but I don't know, the day-to-day person might not think about luxury consignment bridal.
No. So I think let's kind of take it back to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was store director at a major flagship here in Beverly Hills, and thick of the pandemic, shut down, canceled weddings. I had to stick people with their contracts. They would ask like, hey, my wedding got canceled. We're not getting married in Italy. What do I do with my dress? And sorry, you have to take it. But these are the resale platforms that you can use to resell your dress. And it kind of sucked because they came to us to buy their dress. So in theory, they should be able to resell their dress with us. But contract says all sales are final. I would give them these resale platforms, and sadly,
good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like a lot of them just never see another life. And so that's really when I was like, there needs to be a place where a bride can just drop her dress off, sight unseen, leave the work off to professionals. And then hopefully if and when it sells, you make back some money. Mm-hmm. So that's really where the idea was born out. It was really the pandemic, 2020.
Right. But we didn't just end up here in Beverly Hills in a gorgeous consignment shop. There was steps along the way, I'm sure.
Yes.
So
yes.
Pandemic hits, you're still there. When did you decide to leave and start?
So I started with the company end of 2019. Pandemic started March 2020. I built the business model over the summer, so June, July, and then formed an LLC in August, quit my job in October, and then had our pop-up location in January of 2021.
And what did that look like? It was just so glamorous and perfect, right?
It was a 600 square foot corner spot at the platform in Culver City.
Cute.
It was 4 walls. We had a makeshift iron bar fitting room. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until we built the space in literally 24 hours that I realized the curtains were sheer.
Good.
I
Very
sent
good.
I sent my sister out to Target to go buy curtains,
Yeah.
and we like safety pinned them quickly so they were doubled up and people couldn't see through the windows.
Right. Good.
That was a 7-week space, and then moved into an office space, believe it or not. That was home for about 2 years, and then we moved into this bigger space, October of 2023. So
Wow.
not too long ago, almost a year.
And how was those bumps along the way? Like, how did you even find? I mean, I feel like at some level, as I look around at all the beautiful dresses, like it's easy to find brides, but then again, it's like, how did you find brides to sell your dresses?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's still something I do for fun, but
Hmm.
really it comes down to like, how do you get your name in front of these people who don't otherwise know that you're an option for them? And
Yeah.
so a lot of my pastime hobby building the brand was going onto Facebook Marketplace and finding these listings and telling the girl like, "Hey, I started a brand. This is what we do. Can we help you sell your dress?"
Hmm.
And it's so gratifying to get those messages of girls who are like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I need help. I've been trying to sell it for months.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's partner together." And then we sell their dress and they're just so grateful. And we
Yeah.
still do that. It's just something fun we get to do.
No, yeah. I mean, it sounds fun to look around for wedding
Yeah.
dresses all day. It's a very easy thing to fall into this scroll.
Yes.
I want to dive into a little bit about your journey in the bridal space. It, didn't start here. You'd been in the business for a while. You were married quite young. Tell
Yes.
us the journey.
Yes. So I have been in the industry now for 13 years. It did start when I got married. I was a senior in college when my husband and I decided to get married. I was 22.
Woo.
Would I let my kids get married at 22? No, but it led me here. So
Whatever.
good things happen. I decided to hold off on graduate school. I was supposed to be an optometrist. I
Oh,
got
yes. You're clearly doing that.
Yeah. I got my undergraduate degree in biology.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, you know what? If it's meant to be, I'll go to grad school. It'll be there when we're done. Oh, should have mentioned he's in the military at this time. So we decided, okay, let's get married. We knew we were going to be moving around. We had just planned our wedding. And I said, you know what? That was really fun. I'm going to do wedding planning stuff while we're
Mhm.
moving around. Took my hand at wedding planning. Hated that.
Why did you hate it?
It wasn't that instant gratification.
Mm.
Like, you spend 2 weeks putting together this plan for a bride or a couple, and you present it to them and they hate your ideas.
That's literally me.
Yeah. And I was like, this is hard.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to spend my 2 weeks at a computer for you to shut down my ideas.
Mhm.
So at the same time, I had my hand in an internship at a bridal boutique. Loved that. I had always loved fashion. At one point, I remember looking back and thinking, at 4th grade, I was drawing wedding dresses
Oh,
on the playground.
it was
Yeah,
there.
it was always there. Just
Yeah.
didn't really hone in on that.
sure.
So yeah, did an internship 2011, and as we moved around, I worked my way up at different boutiques around the country. So
Mhm.
part-time stylist, full-time stylist. At one point I was a practicing manager because a manager at a boutique was not full-time.
Mm.
So
Sounds
I
good.
intercepted a lot of customer issues and really kind of dug deep into the customer service element. Moved back to San Diego, which is where I started my career, and got a position as an assistant manager,
Mhm.
an alterations manager, and a bridal stylist at the same
Okay,
boutique.
so a lot of hats.
A lot of hats at one store. And then I was given an extra job. I was told that I can start the bridesmaids collection at the boutique, and I was so excited. I asked for compensation and got fired.
Oh, cute. So,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's just dive into that for a second. That
Yeah.
doesn't seem right to me.
No.
Like, I mean, I feel like, especially as women,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping for the most part that the bridal industry is women. However, I'm scared maybe there is not some of that in there. That you would think that that would be more supported, more understanding of the
Yeah.
compensation, but asking, and that is so not a modern idea that when you
No.
should ask, you should get completely slammed out the door.
Correct. And
Great.
at that time, I mean, 4 years into the industry, I had invested enough time in there and I proved myself. I
Mhm.
wasn't making that much money.
Mm.
And granted, this was 2015. I was making $35,000.
Yeah.
This is before the additional work. So for
Mm.
asking for more money,
Right.
it wasn't unwarranted.
And did you have kids at this point too?
No, thank
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
Thank
I mean,
God.
that helps. But you're a military wife. and then
Military wife,
you-
yep.
So got fired.
Yes.
Did you move then? Just because why not?
No, but we were coming towards the end of his military
Gotcha.
career. So thankfully, another brand was opening up a store close by, got hired there, worked my way up with that
Mhm.
company, got pregnant while at that company. So I did leave on mat leave as
Mhm.
their service manager. Our maternity leave was 6 months. And so during that 6 months, I kind of had to ask myself, like, is it worth going back? Because childcare is so expensive, right? And I wasn't making that much money. So there was definitely a turning point where if I'm going back, like, it needs to be worthwhile for me. At the exact same time, I happened to get a promotion.
We'll take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So that's what brought us back up to LA, which is
Mhm.
where I'm originally from. But in getting a promotion with a 6 month old, we moved in with my parents.
Yeah.
Because the reality is having a 6 month old in a full-time job in LA, it's
Oh,
not cheap, you
right.
know? It Things had to get done, so we moved in with my parents for 9 months.
And it was just fine.
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
I
ask my husband, he might tell you a different
Sure,
story,
we
but
all got points of view.
it was helpful.
Yeah.
Between my parents' schedule, my husband's schedule, we had the nanny 5 or 6 hours in a day versus 10
10.
hours in a day,
Yeah.
between the commutes considered, like, it really worked out.
Mhm.
So I was with that company for a year and a half, and then my position got eliminated.
Of course. God, you're really just doing so good with
Yeah,
the luck on this
I
journey.
know. I mean, looking back, I didn't realize how much, like, all the
But what
bumps in
kept
the
you
road.
in bridal then? You were like,
Yeah.
you kind of get handed all the bad cards, but what made you want to
Yes.
stick
I mean,
with it?
it's truly so much fun.
Yeah.
You are helping someone with the happiest moments in their life. And it's such a niche market where, like, this isn't just a pair of jeans.
Right.
This is not just a t-shirt that she can throw away. Like, this is hopefully forever. Her photos are forever.
Mhm.
You are a part of that journey, whether or not she remembers your name, but she'll definitely remember the store
The
she bought her
dress.
dress at
Yeah.
and her dress she wore. So it's such a memorable experience. So yeah, so I left that job, took my hand at wholesale for a couple months and hated that, and then ended up at this international flagship, which is right before the pandemic.
And that brings us
And that brings us here.
right back to
Yeah.
Love Twice. So, making a luxury bridal consignment shop is very unique, very bold, very different. What was like the feelings around what you were doing? Like, how did you face those challenges that were presented in starting this?
Yeah. So I think looking back, and we still feel this today, we're up against what we consider the titans of the resale market as far as
Right.
bridal is concerned. These online resale platforms, they're backed by media companies, they're faceless names, and that's all people know. That's
Mhm.
how you resell a dress. And so when you compare bootstrapped small company like us up
Yeah.
against these conglomerates almost,
Right.
where that's the expectation. Marketing really is a big challenge for us. I remember early on in the business, I paid $6 for a click on Google Ads. I was like, oh my God, $6 for one
$6.
click.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that's probably average,
Right.
right? But like when you're bootstrapped and you've taken the money out of your bank to start your
Right.
company, like those really start to add up. And
I'm sure.
yeah, so we've gotten better at it.
Mhm.
I have recognized my strong points, and marketing is not one of them.
Mhm.
So
Fair. So then did you
passing
hire someone?
yes, so
Yeah.
passing that off to someone who understands the analytics and where you're actually getting that conversion, where to put in your money at this point in the business has really been helpful for us to kind of take my hands out of the pot and let someone else do their job.
Did you get any free time back or no?
No,
No.
not
Yeah.
at all. Oh, I wish.
It's a nice thought.
And then I think just misconceptions, like
Yeah.
with secondhand, you're always up against this notion that the dresses are dirty or old.
Yeah, what is
or
that?
like I think just up until recently, secondhand hasn't had a big push behind it, right?
Yeah.
And so now that younger girls are into it and getting into the sustainability factor to it, it's like you can have everything. There's no
Mhm.
quality that's sacrificed. There's no condition that's sacrificed. There's no style. And for us, there's no experience that comes with buying a secondhand dress. That's really the
Mhm.
biggest thing. So there will always be challenges for sure, but I think knowing what we were up against early on would have been really helpful in building the brand.
Yeah, that's so interesting that because when I hear you talk about it, we're thinking about the resale sites and
Yeah.
whatnot. But in my mind, maybe because I feel like we're broken living in LA. We're so confused. I think more of the bigger brands are the competitor, not just those websites. And it's so interesting to think that it's just such a different person, I guess we're looking for, a different view. Like you're trying to get the people from the sites to have an experience, come to a bridal shop,
Right.
which this really is. And that's why every time I ask a question, I make sure to say luxury consignment shop,
Totally.
because I think there's a very big difference between oh, this is just oh, I bought it used, and
Right.
versus I went to a bridal shop and I had an experience.
Totally. And when you say secondhand, right?
Yeah.
And luxury, we're very particular about the dresses we take in.
Yeah,
We
go
have
off.
a secondhand dress that's $15,000,
Yeah.
right? So, like, it's not to say that these dresses aren't, your dress is not beautiful. It's that it's not relevant to the market. It's that we're going to curate the collection so that the girls who are shopping with us know that we really do take pride in what we're building and what we're offering you as a secondhand shopper.
Mhm.
So,
No, that's so true. And like, who do you think is your ideal client? Like, who is your target person? How did you come up with who this person is?
yeah. So, lots of testing for sure. But
Mhm.
most recently, she is generally 25 to 35 years old. I would say fully employed, average budgets, 35 to $5,000.
Average budget for California, average budget for the nation feel very different to me, though.
Very much.
Yeah.
I think the Knot states that an average wedding dress is like $1,800.
Mhm.
I mean, you're factoring in like the Midwest,
Right.
right? And like, sure, budgets are bigger in bigger cities, makes total sense. But
Yeah.
like, the biggest driver for us is our customer wants a savings. And so knowing ahead of time that you can save 20 to 70% off of a designer dress, like, why wouldn't you buy
Why
secondhand?
wouldn't you?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
and you're sustainable
Yeah.
doing it, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna dive so much into that sustainability conversation. You said you realized what you know you're not good at. What do you know you're good at as being a boss? Like, how did you figure it out? What was your natural skills? And like, how do you let go of the control of maybe what you're not good at and hone
Totally.
in on your skills? Because I think that's a very important entrepreneurial lesson.
For sure. It's interesting now looking back at my career
Hmm.
and being able to take the bits and pieces of that journey all the way up until now.
Yeah.
People skills, I think it is a skill set that you have to use consistently in order to one manage people, to work with contractors, to work with CMOs and finance and the city because your taxes and all of the things, all the facets. Like it's not just a customer element. I think customer
Hmm.
skill sets are really important. I think thinking outside the box is really important when you're an entrepreneur. Often as an employee of a company, you're given, parameters of how to work and how to run efficiently. And that's not the same thing as an entrepreneur. You kind
Hmm.
of have to wear multiple hats and kind of think outside the box and be ready to pivot because shit hits the fan,
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Like that's
Absolutely. You're allowed to say that for sure.
you kind of have to be quick on your feet.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that I'm good at that for sure. Um, yeah.
Take them and run. That being said, I feel like you are really quick on your feet because you saw this whole thought, oh, how I can fix it. But, maybe from the outside looking in, they think someone could think sustainability is why you just started this.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about like the importance of the, industry and sustainability? There really isn't a lot of sustainability. And how does Love Twice Bridal contribute more towards a sustainable future?
Yeah. So up until now, I think with the market really pushing sustainability,
Hmm.
there hasn't been a lot of transparency from designers on their production models, right? And so
Hmm.
we really do try our best to curate our collection based off of how the designer makes their dresses. So we don't take everything under the sun, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And with that comes how their dresses are made. We know what designers are making dresses in bulk, sitting in warehouses, and those are the ones we don't take.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunately part of the game where we kind of have to break it to the seller that these are the reasons why we can't sell your dress. But that is one big way that we are pushing sustainability. Is we advocate for those brands who are doing their part and
Mm.
cutting their dresses made to order. So one by one, as
Mm.
opposed to hundreds or thousands at a time.
Let's talk about a little tea in the industry. This
Yeah.
is a very expensive industry.
Totally.
Yet I hear you talking about how you didn't make that much money working in it. And like
Totally.
there are, people that I think maybe the dress is the biggest deal. I was probably one of those people that the dress was the biggest deal. Like I don't care. We could have had a picnic, but I wanted to wear the dress, whatnot. How does like all of this mush? Give us some of the tea. You said there's dresses sitting in storage.
Yeah.
But they tell you this is gonna take 6 to 8 months.
Correct. Yes.
Why?
Why? Sales pitch? I
Yeah.
mean, they're trying to convert you quickly. I get it. As a business owner, money is money, right? Any money in is
Right.
money that you're going to need later for sure. But if you're shopping 2000 and under,
Mhm.
it's likely your dress is not made to order.
Right.
Let's kind of take our emotions out of it for a
For
second.
sure.
Why is it priced so low? It's probably not made of natural fabrics.
'Kay.
It's
Fair.
probably not made in the US,
Fair.
and when you consider manufacturing practices, it's likely that that dress was cut in bulk
Mhm.
sitting at a warehouse for a company, and that boutique is able to order it at any time. And they're going to tell you it takes 6 months so that you're able to close the sale.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it could have been there.
It could have been there.
It's
It
just
could
that's part of the scheme. That's a part of the
I wouldn't even
allure.
say it's a scheme
Yeah.
because there are brands that do require you to order 6 months. Is it likely? No.
Mm.
And so because there is no transparency from the designer's standpoint of what dresses are actually made to order
Mhm.
versus warehouse, you're going to believe the stylist. So if that's something that is important to you, sustainability and how the dresses are manufactured, ask your stylist.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to tell you. And if you don't feel like that's the right answer, take a step back, walk away, do your research before you commit to buying.
Right.
Because someone will tell you the truth.
Someone
Yeah.
somewhere is going to tell you the
Yeah.
truth. What do you think in your journey of getting to here was the most surprising thing you learned about the bridal industry?
It still shocks me, but honestly, just the turnover in
Yeah.
styles, you know? And I think this goes back to like, again, the sustainability feature is like every designer releases a collection every 6 months. So,
Right.
like, within 6 months, your dress becomes obsolete.
Yikes. Yeah.
You
Which
know,
in
it
most
kinda-
people's in 6 months they won't be married.
well, that's not the case.
Not always, not always. But like, I mean, I think about if they told me it was going to take 8 months to
Right.
get there,
Right.
I'm going to leave. I mean, I'm crazy. I'm also very neurotic. I'm like, I'm going to leave extra time to make sure it's there
And
long
you
before
should.
that.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
not worth the anxiety that can come of it.
Right.
However, if you are a trends girl and you are
Mhm.
all about the trends, just know that unless you are getting married less than 6 months from when the dress was made, your dress is already out of style.
Mm.
So just be mindful of what you're looking for, right? Like if you are a classic gal, go with that feeling. Find a dress
Yeah.
that's going to give you that classic feeling because there's always going to be a new version of classic.
Right.
So be tasteful, of course, as far as like how you want to translate that timeline, but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. And it kind of goes against, I mean, I think about, I don't know if you guys have seen this documentary, but there's this documentary about Brandy Mayville, and it's called Brandy Hellville.
Oh, wow.
And, they talked about how fast fashion, they release new styles every week. And you would think the bridal, because of the amount of time, is going to go much slower. And there's not going to be new trends every second, but 6 months, when you're talking about a year usually planning,
Totally.
is still pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, then you think about all the boutiques that carry these brands, right? Because
Mhm.
now as a business owner, buying inventory, that's a huge money
my God,
suck,
yeah.
right? So you're now expecting boutiques to buy new collections every 6 months. It takes 6 months for them to get the first collection.
And then they're gone. And then it's new.
Well, then, so like they release market at April and October.
Yeah.
As a boutique, you could order in April. You don't get your new product until October. And then
Damn.
you go back. So you haven't even sold any of these items yet. And then
Yeah.
you go back and buy more.
Right.
And then you have to figure out, oh, well, heaven forbid, I don't have this space. What do I do with all this product? I would tell you 50% of our dresses have never walked down an aisle.
That was exactly what I was going to ask. I was like, do these dresses end up here?
Yes. Yeah.
Because
So
they're
we
like-
we work with brides, of course, but we also work with designers and boutiques who have product that's not moving or that they don't need. It's not to say they're discontinued or damaged. They just don't have room for them and they're
Yeah.
expected to buy more stuff.
Right.
So secondhand doesn't mean, your grandma's 40-year-old dress.
Right, for sure, sure, with
These
huge
are
sleeves and
dresses that
whatever.
someone could still order brand new. The boutique just didn't need it anymore.
Yeah. Do stores keep extra in stock sometimes? Like
They
in case-
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, just the nature of the wedding industry. If dresses take 6 months to come in,
Yeah.
then and you have a bride who gets married in 3 months, like you want to sell her something. Yes.
Yes.
Every store has some off the rack option.
Right.
Yes.
And when those off the rack options don't get picked and there's new stuff that's now off the rack, it comes usually to
Well,
here.
they could send it to us, yes.
Yeah.
But we also team up with charities who, serve the underserved community. We worked with a charity called Brides for a Cause who donates their proceeds towards women-focused charities. So like there are other avenues other than resell
Mhm.
for boutiques.
So let's talk a little bit about the process of when a dress shows up here. What do you do?
So we actually have a pretty thorough process leading up to its arrival to our
Mhm.
store. A bride decides she's done with her dress, she's gotten married, she gets it dry cleaned, she fills out an intake form for us.
Mhm.
We do some research to figure out, one, is it within the last 4 years or not? Because the last thing we want is to take in an old dress that's not relevant to the market, give the seller false hope that it's going to sell, and it's just not what our brides are looking for. So we'll do market research, we'll fill out a consignment agreement, and that includes her market research to figure out what we're reselling the dress for, has her terms and agreements on it. Once she's decided she's ready to move forward, she completes her agreement. We receive the dress. We do a quality control.
Mhm.
If the dress is not up to our standard, we will email the bride. We will send her photos. We will tell her why we can't take it in. Or if we can, it's going to require her to get it cleaned. We got to fix it. And that's
Mhm.
just going to translate to a higher selling price.
Great.
What ends up happening is if you take in a dress with low quality, you get negotiations or it
Yeah.
doesn't sell.
And you don't negotiate, right?
No.
Like the prices are the
The
price.
price is the price.
You've said it.
We've said it. The worst, what I should say is the most we can do is if a bride wants to negotiate, we'll tell her it's up to the seller.
Fair.
It's not our decision to make.
Right. And I think, like, that could be a misconception about LovedTwice Bridal is like you walk in, you think, oh, you guys own all these dresses.
We do not own any of these
You are
dresses.
you are like the agent.
I like
for
to say
these
we're
dresses.
like brokers almost. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very crazy versus like other places. Like you're trying on the sample to
Correct.
get the dress versus
Correct.
you could walk out the door with this dress.
You can walk out with this dress and if brides are open to buying a sample, if you think about how many girls have tried that sample on. Right. So like if you're open to a sample sale,
You should
be
open.
shopping secondhand first.
So
like
true.
how many people have tried that sample on? How many hands have touched that dress?
Mhm.
How many repairs have been made to that gown?
Probably
Right.
a lot.
Because every boutique, if it's a bestseller, that dress is getting tried on 4 or 5 times in one weekend.
Right.
Right. And then now you have damage clips on there and you have handprints on there and it's stretched out significantly from the size that it was.
Right.
So if you are open to buying an off the rack dress, I ask you to please shop secondhand because
Right.
these dresses are in way better condition.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, so that being said, also, what's the process if it's coming from a store? Same thing. You look
Very
at
much
it.
the same thing. Absolutely. And because it's been on the floor, even more particular, right? Because
Mm.
it can have those damages that you wouldn't otherwise see on a bride's dress that she wore for 10 hours in a very controlled setting, so to
Correct.
speak.
And let's talk about the bridal experience. So you want to come to life, LovedTwice Bridal. What can you expect? What kind of mindset should you be coming in? Do you come and this is the first place you should try on dresses?
Absolutely not.
Okay, great. So don't do that.
Because we are an off the rack store, we definitely encourage our brides to shop before coming in.
Mhm.
And the reason we say that is because we don't do holds, right?
Yeah.
So the dress is the dress. They're one-off pieces. We cannot order them for you. They're here today, gone tomorrow. Online store is something we don't have control over. All of our inventory is listed on our website.
So
And
somebody could just buy it.
yes, and believe it or not, it does happen. A girl will come in on a Saturday, she's ready to buy. It could have sold on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's because we are on Google. We
Yeah.
do all of our SEO marketing. We do all of the things needed to convert online. And this is really where we set ourselves apart from resale platforms is yes, we do have a physical brick and mortar location, but we have a try at home program. So anyone who comes across this dress on our website can put a deposit towards the dress, take the dress home or have it shipped to them, try it on for 3 days before you commit to buying it. Right? So like we're making it easier for girls to buy a secondhand dress. You don't have to be physically in Los Angeles to shop with us. If you're looking at a dress online, you'll be able to try it on before you commit.
See, that is so smart because this is really getting into your business smartness.
Right.
Not only do you have the store, which you could have truly the luxury bridal experience,
Right.
Bring the girlfriends,
Yes.
bring the mom, whatever, try on the dress.
Yes.
But if you're not going to fly to Los Angeles, and also then it throws you back into competing right with those other sellers.
Totally.
You could do either or.
Yes.
Or both.
Which we do get girls who are
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm not sure. Can I do the try at home program? Yes. If you need 3 days to mull it over, by all means, put down your deposit, take it home. And if you don't love it, bring it back.
Mhm.
And this is really where we kind of set ourselves apart from a resale platform. Is like, let's say you are online, you do have questions. Yes, you can call the store, but you can also chat with us on the website. You can send us an email. You can do all of these things versus an online resale platform. You're sending a message to someone you don't know who maybe or maybe not has been on the website in the last 24 hours.
You're just
And-
really
Right.
throwing
You
it in
don't
the
know
dark.
who's
Yeah.
on the other end. And
Right.
like doing what we've been doing for now 4 years, we've had people, unfortunately, buy $5,000 dresses and never get their dress. I
Yeah.
had one customer who had to hire private
Investigators?
investigator in another state to find the seller
Yeah.
who took $5,000 for a Berta dress
Uh-huh.
and never found it.
Did she just never sent it? What was the
She never got the dress.
She just never got it.
No.
She's like, I spent money.
I spent
it's out
money.
in the ether. Maybe.
Yep.
We
We
think.
don't know.
So wow.
Yes.
The depths we will
I mean,
go.
at this point,
I mean, yeah,
sadly,
fine for
right?
him.
Like you just don't know who's on the other end.
Well, and also I hate to say it, not that we're going back to the unsustainability, but like the Amazon of it all, like, you think like, oh, I can just say it didn't come. Maybe I'll get the money back. I mean, it's
No, I mean,
creating all
this
these
is
horrible habits.
Well, totally. And this is what goes back to like the personal, this is what we offer is like, if there's an issue, you can call us. You can
Right.
talk to someone. Like there is someone who's there to help you. It's not this black hole of an
Yeah.
online option,
It really is a
you
black
know?
hole, and communication is also limited a lot in these.
Right.
And like, yeah, I understand it, especially for the people who sustainability is super important to. You're going to use these kinds of sites, maybe.
Totally.
You're going to use them for your regular clothes as well, or different sites for regular clothes as well. So you're more used to or accustomed to the system. But it's kind of a
It is a
gamble.
gamble.
And you just don't know. And also, some sites with rentals, I've recently had a bad experience with rentals and things, you don't know whose side they're going to pick. Are they going to pick you, the buyer? Are they going to pick the sellers
Right.
to favor? So
Right.
it's really a shot in the dark.
It really is. And maybe you're willing to take this risk for that bag that you've
Right.
been eyeing
For $20
or your
for $30.
shoes.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But like
not
this is your wedding dress. And
Yeah.
like, of course, every budget is subjective. But
For
like
sure.
if you're spending $2,000, $10,000, you should know what you're getting. You should
Yeah.
know if it's going to fit. You
That's-
should know what condition it's in. It sounds so elementary, but like up until now, there's no one advocating for secondhand dresses with a professional person behind them.
Right. And who's also had experience in the industry.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
And that really comes down to like that experience part that you're talking about. It's like
Mhm.
you are not sacrificing experience in any way.
No.
It's a new way to do it. And it might
Right.
take a little bit longer to get things done, but like you're going to feel so good that you saved some money. You
Yeah.
were sustainable in doing it. You didn't have to wait 6 months. You don't have this anxiety of like, is my dress going to fit? Am I going to love it? Like, there's so many things that can come out of buying secondhand, especially with us, that like it just seems like a no-brainer.
It's so clear, and it's like, I know this took a lot of thought to get there.
Totally.
It's so clear and concise for the consumer, but that's because of your entrepreneurial spirit and your mind and whatnot. What keeps your entrepreneurial spirit alive in like really tough times? I mean, you're a mom, you were a military wife.
Yeah.
Like, what keeps you
Um,
going?
A lot of sarcasm.
Oh yeah, great, me too. Perfect. All right, next question. Just kidding.
I mean, like, there are days where I just like lose sleep. I mean,
Yeah,
if
of
you're an
course.
entrepreneur, it is not for the faint of heart. Like, you buckle up, it's a roller coaster. It will drag you through the trenches. But those like really high highs and those like validations from the customers of like, oh my God, I wish this was around when I was getting married. I would have totally bought secondhand, or I tried buying online and it didn't work out, or
Yeah.
oh, I wish I'd known about you sooner. Like, that's really what keeps me going. You know, like
Yeah.
disrupting an industry, sure, great, so exciting. But like, why? If your customers aren't resonating with that, then what's the point? And
Right.
so getting that feedback from customers who are like, I actually had the best experience with them. They're really nice and their quality is great. Like, those are the reasons why you keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
Not because you're like, I'm shaking it up. It feels unrealistic to touch. What's real is what you're gonna see day to day.
Totally. And it's not easy. I mean, like, to your point, yes, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have things outside of the business, but like, if you're not doing something for the better of humanity, like, what's the point?
Right.
You know, like, I'm not just there to sacrifice my kids and my
Right.
my household, you know?
Well, and I hope that you can sleep easy at night knowing you're doing something good.
Good.
Yeah, I
Totally.
mean, it's a great space. It's a very luxurious space. There's a lot. I think we don't talk about this enough. The bridal guilt of it all is like, it's very expensive. We live in the US. We're very privileged and all the
Yeah.
things. And like, even if you can just add a little bit of like realness to that and just be like, I did something a little good.
For
Also,
sure.
like, I don't hardly think you're doing anything corrupt. You probably get a good night's sleep knowing you're making the world a little bit better.
Totally. And I
Yes.
think, again, back to like hearing the customers say that, like, that's really what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really what sets us apart.
Yet it's very demanding.
Yes.
So, how do you maintain the balance of being a mother and wife? And I mean, how many dresses are even in here?
Like, we're probably like 400.
Wow.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
it's 400. I mean, if each dress came from one bride,
Customer, of course.
It's-
That's that many customers. Yes.
yeah, that many
yes.
people. Like, the team is how many people here?
So we are 3 deep, including myself.
Great.
So
And
up
her
until-
children, they're on
yes,
staff too.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Well,
No child labor law.
like we do kind of say I'm conditioning my daughter to take over the
Oh,
business. Like she's
cute.
kind of this like part of the social strategy.
Oh
but
my
not
God,
really.
adorable.
Yeah, she's so cute. And my son was in here when we first started the business, and I remember
Yeah.
him like holding the mannequin's hand, like
He-
looking at her. Like
He's gonna marry someone
yeah.
special. Yeah.
So like they're in it in
Yeah.
some degree. I am better at it now with the balance, now that I do have a full-time employee who handles the day-to-day
Yeah.
operations. And Thank God for her because she is a gem. I don't think I could do it without her. Like, I had a baby at the beginning of the year. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way that I could be able to grow the business, step away, give birth, and like up until recently, and with her part time,
Yeah.
right? So like, it's not easy balancing. I don't think I have it down. And anyone who tells you they do is like total BS. Like,
Yeah.
they don't have it down.
No, no
There's
one has
no
it down.
way.
It's
Um,
never a perfect 50-50.
it's never, no, it never
Yeah.
will be. And I think like that's just the season of life. Like,
Mhm.
if you have kids, you have a household, you run a business, like there will never be a perfect day. And if there is, get ready for it to not be the
Crash
case.
the
You know,
next,
like
yeah.
anyone who makes it seem like it's perfect is lying to you. It's
Yeah.
all a facade.
No, well, yeah, totally.
Right. And I think that like the transparency part to that is like, it's not easy. Just the
Mhm.
other day, I got a phone call from the California Tax Board. And I was like,
Hello.
I know. I was like, she's like, hello. Yes, I'm calling about your tax account. And I was like, I don't believe you. I think this is scam. She's like, no, 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 really. Let's talk about it. I hang up and our part-time stylist is behind me and she's looking at me and she's like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm about to sell the company. She's like, looked at me all serious. Like, I'm just
No,
kidding.
you're not.
No, 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 I'm not.
Yeah.
But like, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's that 4:30 time cutoff to about 8 o'clock. I'm in mom mode.
Yeah, you boundaries.
Pickups, groceries, dinner, bath, homework,
Ugh.
cleaning. And then if there's still things left to be done, I'm working till 10 o'clock at night on
Yeah.
the couch with my husband, watching TV, trying to have some sense of normalcy. I've gotten better at it, but
Yeah. It's
that's my
it's
new
not an
normal.
easy skill. It's
No.
And I think the only, like, we can sit here behind the mic. You can tell me all about it. I don't have kids. I don't own a
No.
business. And you're just not going to understand it until you do it on some level.
And I being honest and open about it, I think it's now become more of a normal thing to talk about. But like that mental load of all of that, like
Mhm.
that's exhausting.
It's tiring.
It's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
like, no, yes, I love my kids. Yes, I love to do what I do for them. But like, no, I don't want to have to think about dinner 5 days a week. You
Yeah,
know,
no.
like if I could hire a private chef,
We all,
that would be
same.
great. That would save me so much time.
That being said, if you were to go back and like look at all the lessons you've learned from pre-Love Twice and then in Love Twice, what are the lessons along the way that have really stood out to you?
There's a time and place for everything.
Hmm.
It sounds so basic, but there were definitely days where I questioned what was my purpose. You know, like getting married at 22, I thought I solved it all. Check mark.
On to the next.
Right. Next thing to accomplish. But
Yeah.
like now in my 30s, looking back, like most 20-year-olds have no idea what they're going to do with themselves. And
Mhm.
that's okay. You know, I now tell 20-year-olds, take your 20s, live your life. You have time to figure it out. And then when that time comes, you'll be so much happier knowing that you gave yourself that grace. You know, I think now looking back, I realize I was tough on myself. I was hard on myself. And that just how I was brought up. You know, you have to get your shit together quickly.
Yeah.
So I think looking back, I'm proud of how I got through those humps and bumps along the road.
Yeah.
And I still feel like there's definitely those days where I question it, but it's not a purpose question. It's
Yeah.
like, let's get through it and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that notion of just like, we'll get through it and we'll figure it out. from
Yeah.
there.
Things just come. There's a reason why things happen when they happen and why they happen. And I think it's not until now that I look back and like, if I hadn't been a military wife, I wouldn't have moved around the country. I wouldn't have tried different boutiques and business models and seen so many different designers and manufacturing processes. And what worked in one store might not have worked in another store. I saw the small business facet. I saw the corporate facet. I saw the international facet. Like there's so many things that worked in my favor that brought me to Love Twice, that
Yeah.
really gave me the skills and the experience I needed to start my own brand.
Right. We never know in those little tiny steps that you think are like, why is this
Pointless.
happening to
Exactly.
me? Like, has no use for what I want to do in my life. And then you end up someplace where you really want to be in your life, which I
Yes.
hope is LovedTwice Bridal.
Absolutely.
And you're like, wow, those were little steps I needed to know. I didn't know I
Absolutely.
needed
No,
them.
there's no way you would have known that. You're in the thick of it in your 20s, you know, trying to figure out like, I just got what I thought was supposed to be my dream job and it didn't work out, you know, like
Yeah.
it will give you something. It will serve you in some way. Just take a step back. Figure it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You are wonderful. We have to tell everybody where they can find you, find the store, find the website, all the good things.
Yes. So we are online at www.lovetwicebridal.com and hashtag or at username LoveTwiceBridal. We are in Beverly Hills on Robertson Boulevard. You can call us, you can book an appointment, you can text us. Honestly, just shout it out from the rooftops. I think for us, it's just getting our name out there, telling girls she can sell her dress with us, she can buy her dress with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Riley.
much. Thank you so much for listening to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the show. As always, we'll see you next Tuesday.